All right. Welcome to the Sharp Mind Show, episode 98. I'm Nate, the Fit Future MD, your life coach. Be sure to shop at InstaSale.com, pick up a cool, inspirational t shirt today. All right. So, got to talk about Super Bowl 60 and reactions to Super Bowl 60. So, number one, Seattle beat the Patriots 29-13. It was a dominant defensive battle for Seattle. Kenneth Walker was named MVP. Obviously, he's a running back. He didn't get any touchdowns, right? So, should Kenneth Walker have been the MVP of the game, even though the kicker got 17 points, right? And say the kicker, his name is Jason Myers. So, should Jason Myers have been the MVP because he got 17 points, right? So, without the 17 points, right? Not counting the extra points, I guess, it would have been 14-13. All right. Let's try this again. So 29 minus 15 is 14. That's right. So 14-13 without the kicker, right? So should the kicker had gotten MVP, obviously that's never happened before, but basically he had the most points in the game, right? Very clutch kicking. But let's talk about how the game went a little bit, right? So Drake May was basically pressured the whole night, right? He was sacked 6 times. He fumbled once. But basically, here's the deal, right? New England could not rush the football, right? They basically went three and out a lot. Um, let's say they tried Stevenson and they tried Henderson. Neither one could get, they're all 3 yards of carries. They were all 3 yards of carry guys. Drake May is the only one that was, Drake May probably should have ran more, maybe to open it up. They started to get it going in the fourth quarter when they were down big, but by then it was too late. Obviously, Drake May with 2 picks and a fumble. That's not going to get it done against Seattle. But to me, the MVP of the game is obviously Ernest Jones, um, leader of the defense, 11 tackles or 10 tackles solo. You know, so to me, it's obvious there. On the on the New England defense side, New England stayed in it so long, basically because of Christian Gonzalez. He was basically covering up the wide receivers. And honestly, New England's defense did what they were supposed to do, right? Uh, Jackson Smith Jigba had 4 catches and was shut down, 27 yards, right? So basically, Cooper Kupp is the one that had to really come through for them. AJ Barner had to come through for them, for Seattle. And, so basically, Kenneth Walker, 27 carries, 135 yards, 5 yards an average, had a great game. He also had two catches for 26 yards. Sam Darnold did enough, didn't try to I'm going to be honest with you. Sam Darnold at the beginning of the game was threading the needle, right? He was making throws that were just like ridiculous. He ended up like 4 of 11 in the first half, but like New England's defense was as advertised, right? Like they were literally right on Seattle's wide receivers, pretty much the whole game. It was like they were running the routes with them, so for Sam Darnold to not have a turnover there, to me was really impressive. So that's what I think about the Super Bowl. It was kind of a little bit of a boring Super Bowl because it was like 9-0 at halftime, and really New England didn't even score to the fourth quarter, right? So pretty much a dud of a Super Bowl. Let me know what you think about the Super Bowl and how it went down. All right, so this episode is brought to you by Dylan and Davina, The Adventure Begins, which is my wife's children's book, available on Amazon. So if you like to get Amazon best-selling writer Meredith Dillon Johnson's children's book, Dylan and Davina, The Adventure Begins, be sure to check that out on Amazon.com. Link is also in the description. All right. So the only actual, I guess, controversy of the Super Bowl is obviously Bad Bunny's halftime performance, right? When Bad Bunny was announced, basically you saw a big backlash from conservatives, right? So, of course, I'm not going to judge a book. I'm actually going to watch something before I make a judgment on it, right? So as a person that does not speak Spanish, right? So beat was good. The only part we can understand was Lady Gaga, and Lady Gaga's part was not good, right? Don't feel like Lady Gaga did a good performance at all. But from what AI has told me, right, because I can't, translating whatever they're saying, it basically says the show featured strong political themes focused on Puerto Rican pride, resistance against colonial history, and critiques of U.S. policies. Performance highlighted issues like gentrification of Hawaii, power grid failures in Puerto Rico, immigration, and aiming to center Latino identity on a global stage. But Americans that don't speak Spanish have no idea what was said, right? So that's really what I think of the halftime performance. It's basically like, it may have had a great message or it may have had a bad message. I don't know because I couldn't understand it, right? And so if the NFL was going for reaching to a more Spanish audience, then hopefully that goal was good, right? Hopefully they got that goal, right? If it was, about speaking out against these things, then all power to them on that too, right? Because he was able to speak out with Ricky Martin on Hawaii. He did the power grid failures, with the light poles, right? Did notice the colonial part with the sugarcane plantations, right? As far as the visual, but so really, the show was political, and now whether the show was good or not, I have no idea, because I don't understand the words, right? So, but the beat was good. Didn't feel like Lady Gaga was good. But let me know what you think of the Bad Bunny halftime performance if you actually watched it and could understand it, or at least got a translation of it. If you didn't watch it, then don't bother about commenting on it. But let me know what you think of the Bad Bunny halftime performance. And if you're one of the people that watched the other one, let me know what you thought of the other one and about the lineup and what they were talking about over there. Right? Because I didn't watch that one. Right. So I watched the one, Bad Bunny. So, all right. Moving on to life coaching. And I might get hate for saying this, but burnout isn't caused by working too hard. So, what's actually causing burnout for most people? Burnout usually comes from working hard on things that you don't align with, right? It doesn't align with your values. When your effort and the meaning for the effort has a disconnect, you get something called exhaustion, right? So basically what are you going to do is basically you have to figure out what has meaning in your life, right? What is actually meaningful. So for me, helping people is meaningful, right? When you see somebody actually go from down here to up here because of your help, that is something that brings meaning to my life, right? It brings joy to my life for that to happen, right? So whether it be helping somebody pass a test, helping somebody with math, whether it be teaching somebody how to invest, um, stuff like that, and teaching them the reasons they should invest. I said the other day, I'm having a conversation. Of course, I love beautiful old cars. Me and my father built cars together before he passed away. And, so I love old cars, but I recognize that old cars are money pits, right? So I recognize you can ruin a whole budget and can ruin your investing by putting money into an old car. Now, that being said, everyone has a budget for entertainment. And if that is your entertainment and you can stick in the budget, then that's fine. But if it's going to take months and months of paychecks to get a car right, the car's got to wait, right? But the car might bring you meaning, right? And your effort in the car might bring you happiness, right? Is the point. But it might be away from your actual goal, right? So if your goal is financial freedom, your goal is to work because you want to. Your goal is that so that you can take a lesser job that has a deeper impact and has meaning, then you have to live differently. You can't be like everybody else, right? And so that's why I teach people to live differently, right? To think differently. And if you do that, you can get way ahead in life, right? And so don't get burned out on shit that you don't like, right? Don't get burned out without meaning. If you're going to be tired, at least have a meaning, right? So you'll see a lot of people complain about their kids and complain about their wife, but those are the things that actually give you meaning in life, right? And so work is going to completely forget about you. They're not, every 5 years, all the paperwork is plunged and you didn't even exist for those 5 years, right? Especially if you're working in government. But guess what? Your kid's going to know that you were at home playing with them, right? Your wife's going to know that you were at home hugging her, loving her, talking to her, stuff like that, right? So to me, if you put effort into things that actually have meaning in your life, you're never going to burn out, even if you physically feel tired, right? I can still wake up at 4 a.m. every day because I know I'm waking up to help people, right? And that's what I do, right? So if you're interested in that, you're interested in life coaching, you're interested in allowing me to help you, allowing me to serve you so that you can have a better life, then hit me up for life coaching. It's 100% money back guarantee after the full year, right? If for whatever reason I can't help you, right? But never had to give a refund yet. So, all right. And the last thing, this is uncomfortable, but most people aren't broke because of the economy. Then why are so many people struggling financially? Because habits scale faster than income, right? Habits scale faster than income. Without discipline and awareness, more money just creates bigger problems, right? So you'll see this a lot, right? People win the lottery, they'll win 500,000, 600,000, a million, 10 million, 100 million, even a billion, right? And then all of a sudden, a couple years later, they're broke again. All of a sudden, you know, you see they're homeless or they're having to sell their big mansion that they bought or whatever. You'll see it with ball players, right? So the habits that got them there, they're no longer useful to them. And then all of a sudden they're losing all their money and they're losing everything they built, right? So this is something to say habits is what scales for you, right? So you have to build a habit. And so even if you're day trading, right? Most people start, they'll throw $50,000 in there and they'll start day trading and all of a sudden they're losing and they'll quit, right? Where you needed to start with, $500 and find that one trade every day that actually works, right? And you look for it and you spend the time, the habits every day learning the skill, right? And so it's different. So you know, some days are not going to be good when you're day trading. Some days are going, and you might even have 6 or 7 days in a row that are bad that you have to overcome, right? But, the stock market, you know, 80% of the time is going up, right? So you just have to go along with the ride, right? And find the entry and exit points. So keep that in mind. But that's not really what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about habits. So your habits. So why do I wake up at 4 a.m. every day, right? So that I can read and get my skills better, right? So I can learn from people that are way ahead of me, right? And so that's how I became a life coach, because there's certain levels that I'm at that I can help people that are not at my level yet, right? And so that's what I do. I'm a life coach and I help people. But without that discipline to get up and read every day, I'm not making myself any better so that I can, I make myself better every day so that I can help people, right? And so it's mindset, skill set, and habits. If you got to change your mindset, you use affirmations, right? And some people do give some people do give hate to affirmations, but the truth is affirmations can really change your mind over a long period of time, right? And um, you first have to believe that you can achieve something to achieve it, right? You can't be Mr. Olympia unless you believe that you can be Mr. Olympia, right? You wouldn't get up every morning, you wouldn't go to the gym, you wouldn't do that hour of cardio, you wouldn't starve yourself and get down to sub 6% body fat. Like, you just wouldn't do it, right? If you didn't believe it, right? So you have to train your mind to believe that you can actually achieve something. And honestly, that's the biggest hurdle that I have as a life coach is making someone believe that they can actually achieve financial freedom, right? So I'm talking to a colleague and they ask me, how much should I have to retire? And I say, well, how much do you make? I double it and I multiply it by 25, using the 4% rule. I'm like, well, you need 2.5 million to retire net worth. And they just, you just saw their face just go, I'm never getting to 2.5 million. There's no way I'm getting to 2.5 million. And I just broke down the math here. Here's the thing. This is what your house worth now. In 5 years, your house is going to be worth this, number one. And then number two, your investments are worth this today. If it keeps getting the percentages getting and you're adding to it, it's going to be this, right? And so you can get there at this age, right? And then they could see like, okay, I believe you, or no, you're still nuts. I'm not making that sacrifice, right? And so that'll be the decision that they have to make. But it starts with that belief in their head, like, oh, I can get 2.5 million, no problem. Right. So it just goes to show you that, you know, that belief is first, and then you can go that into your habits every day. And the habits are what builds you up, right? Um, and some people will say, you saying you're better than other people is arrogance. And it's not that, it's that you put in the habits every day to get there, right? So you don't just say, oh, I'm better. You have to show it, right? It has to actually be true, right? It's not a delusion when you think that you're better than other people, right? And you're better because in your mindset, your habits, and your skill set, you're better. You're bigger, stronger, faster, smarter, and more, and you've accomplished more in your life. And that is what shows that you are better. So if you want to be better in life, hit me up for life coaching. That's what I do. It's a yearly price, so you work with me for 1 year, and if after 1 year I haven't made you better, you get all your money back, right? So, you if you break it down into a monthly price, whatever, but you get all your money back if it doesn't work, right? So, it's a no hassle, uh, money back, 100% money back guarantee offer, right? So if you think that I can help you change your mindset, your skill set, and your habits to make you a better person long term that has meaning in their life, that is not exhausted then hit me up for life coaching. Make sure you shop at intercell.com. That's my business. I put cool things on t-shirts. Hope you enjoy them. Make sure you check out my wife's book, Dylan and Davina, The Adventure Begins. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.